Every city has a story, and not everybody choose to record it. Today, I am sitting with the heartbeat of Edmonton, a creator who has been recording and documenting each and every aspect of Edmonton. He's been a content creator over a decade. He has seen the city's ups and downs, the growth, the expansion, and you name it. Today we have Lincoln on our show. He is the man behind YEGventures, and we're gonna take a deep dive in his day-to-day life, also his brain and how he functions, and the rest that he has in him. So Lincoln, thank you so much for coming to the show, brother. Appreciate. How do you feel?
Good. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
You pumped me up a bit.
Hey, it's like nobody dedicates that much of a time that you have to document a city per se, or I have personally not seen anybody, right? So when I came across your social media, I was pretty impressed. I was like, I need that persistence, I need that dedication to just put your head down and do what you like and build yourself on the passion that you have, right? So before the cameras, before the lenses, how did you get a thought of starting to document everything, or what was the motive or inspiration behind it?
I think I've always enjoyed kind of facts about things, facts about the city, facts about random things like science or like astronomy. I guess that's part of science too, like all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I would say I've never read a book in my life, but I've also read a lot of books in my life. So like when people ask me like, have you read a book? I usually say like, no, like I haven't read a lot of books in my life because I consider books to be fictional.
Right.
And I think that's what people assume when they ask you like, what books have you read? But I really like books about facts. So like I used to collect like an entire shelf of like Guinness Book of Records to kind of like look at those cool things about the world, like the biggest of this, the smallest of this, know. But like when it came to like fictional things, I'm like, I don't care about that. Like it didn't matter to me. So I would know all these facts, and I eventually ended up working at City Hall as their first paid tour guide, because I just love facts and showing and sharing that with other people. So, and then that took me to kind of go to a lot of events, because then I would find out about these events through my work at City Hall.
Yeah.
And then I would go to them. And then one year, somebody gave me an action cam for Christmas, and then so I brought it with me when I was going to these places, and also I was starting to film some of the places I'd like to highlight for food. And then suddenly I was getting free dishes from these business owners. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And this was before the word influencer was even a thing. It was before digital marketing was a thing. And so I was like, hey, there's something up here. So I started doing that. I started filming more things. And then eventually I switched over to YEGventures, because I'm like, hey, it started out being like a university church thing, and I started making videos, like digital videos, before YouTube even started.
Right.
So this was like way back when, like, I don't know, like 2001, 2002-ish. So I was filming all of this stuff. I was editing things on like the worst editing tools like known to man. Like this is so far back, and I would be using the Wave audio player to edit on there. So you can actually copy things within it and then paste it on top. It was so painstaking to like edit like that. It's almost like cutting tape and like sticking them together. That's how the editing was back then. But then, so I switched over to YEGventures like, I don't know, about like probably like 2010-ish, when I found out that YouTube was kind of starting to get popular. And so I created that, and then everything is what it is today. So,
when was the first time that you felt like, okay, this is something, and I can build a profession out of it, or I can do my livelihood on this?
It was never a thought for me. Like, I just loved creating things. And to be honest, like, YouTube wasn't a very big audience, especially not for local content. Like, if you do like things that are relatable across the world, that's way easier, like toys or like product reviews. Like, anyone in the world can look at those and watch those, right? But
Yeah.
when you do a city like Edmonton with such a small population, there's not going to be that much of attraction. So I didn't really think of this as a career at all in any way. I just thought, hey, this is pretty cool to feature this and experience different things.
Right.
And then, of course, the pandemic hit. Then two of my coworkers were laid off during the pandemic, and then I actually took on their jobs. So I was doing 3 times the work for the same amount of pay. And then, there was some restructuring, and my boss retired, and I wasn't really getting used to the new vibe at work. So I switched my job for a bit, and then the job that I switched to was even worse in terms of like what I was able to do creatively, because I thought the new job was going to be on social media because I was doing social media for 5 years with my previous job. And it wasn't. So like it's because it seemed like 90% of my interview was on my ability to do stuff on social media, and then it was less than 10% of my job. Like I was editing their website, I was writing press releases, I was even asked to do like a press conference, and this was 3 weeks into my job. I'm like, I'm not trained in any of this. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna step away. I think I have the skills I need to go full time.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, I'll just go back to my job, or I'll just find another job.
Right.
So that month became the last 3 years.
There you go. So like you took a leap of faith and believed in your skills, and then you quit your job, paid full-time attention on social media, or say as a content creator. The initial part where when you started doing content, when your audience base was small, sometimes, because it happens to me personally, that if I don't get a lot of interaction, it kind of brings me down. Right? It feels like I did a lot of work and I didn't get as much response as I expected or anticipated. How was your first days when you didn't have a lot of audience base that you have right now? And what was your fuel to kept you going, or kept you motivated to kind of push through and keep doing what you are doing?
I think for me in the first days, I would just love to feature things that nobody else featured. Like, news outlets would often miss a lot of these because they weren't deemed as, news outlets wouldn't feature things because they were deemed not as newsworthy as other things. So I would meet with like, smaller creators, or like I guess who I considered would be like a good size creator, and be like, hey, this guy's pretty cool, and feature that. Or like I would go to winter events, festivals, things like that, and do a little feature. Or again, like I would go to a restaurant or something, right? And I would just film my day. I would like. There used to be a thing called Ice on White Festival.
Yes.
And they would have the grandest ice slides, and it would just get bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And so I was going down these ice slides. I was recording myself with it was a camcorder, and it was like -30, -40, or something like that, right? So I'm like, I'll just get a casing for it. So it was the size of an aqua unit. It was this big with a camcorder in it. And I was just going down the slide because it was cold. I didn't want to ruin the camcorder. And it was a lot of fun. And then the producer of Ice on White noticed it, and she's like, hey, you should come down, come early. I'm like, oh, what do you want me to do? Should I interview you? And she's like, no, you can just do whatever you want. I'm like, what do you mean? Okay. So I had like no idea of what I was going to do. And so I just did whatever. I just did my usual content, and I eventually ended up working for them. So I have a contract with what's now known as Activate Arts, because Ice on White is no longer a thing. They've kind of expanded through like central Alberta and northern Alberta. And so I still do work for them with the activations that they set up throughout the city. So it's been fun that way. And so now you're hearing what my brain goes through. I don't even remember the original question right now. It's just fun to just talk.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's very interesting because I started it the same way. When I started photography, I was taking photos as a friend at his party, and one of his relative was a business owner, and they were looking for their best friend's photographer for the engagement, and they saw me doing so. They reached out and they're like, "Are you interested?" I'm like, "I have no experience doing it professionally, but if you give me an opportunity, I'll definitely try it." Right, and so that is exactly how I started. So I know how it feels. um Talking about that, I had a question that when you initially got the contract per se, finances in terms of your service, how was that first 10 minutes going through? Like, what was going through your brain?
I think for most creators, whenever somebody contacts you to offer you money, or they're like, "Hey, what's your rate?" You're like,
Yeah.
"What's my rate? What do you mean, what's my rate?" Like, I don't know. Like, I have a job. I charge. Like, what am I supposed to charge? So in terms of creators and how much they charge, the numbers are all over the place because of that. There's like no set rules. Some creators I know in the city are charging close to $2,000 for like one little restaurant opening or something like that, and then other creators are charging nothing. So it's all over the place. And for me, like I consider myself actually undercharging. And a lot of people would consider that I do undercharge, but I treat it more like a service. Like, it's a service to the city. And most of the time, everybody is struggling, like
Right.
I think like over 80% of Canadians right now, like are making paycheck to paycheck. So who am I to say that I deserve anything more than everybody else, right? So I'm struggling paycheck to paycheck like everybody else. I'm just simply paying my bills. And for me, it's a little bit harder to live by myself. In a house that my mom was also living in, but she passed away. So like I can't afford to move out. So I'm living here by myself. I'm just charging, a rate that is good with the business owners, or the places that I'm working with. And if they, sometimes if they can't charge, then, I change my deliverables. I change what I can do for them, or I get a gift in lieu, or like a gift in kind,
Right.
Of what they can offer. So, I did something for a business, and they were new. They had delayed for months because the city right now, like they're taking like up to like 9 months to over a year
Right.
sometimes to give businesses their licenses because they're so far behind. So I understand that they're burning through money like crazy. So I was happy with just taking a product from them, or an experience, or sometimes I just do a giveaway worth of what I would normally charge to my audience instead. So it benefits the business. They would get some followers. I would get some followers out of it, and everybody wins.
That's deep, man. I'm sorry to hear about your mother. Um, that is the thing that touches most of the people, is that you are not a behind money or behind making a wealth. If Because from what I can understand is, you want to help other people first, and then if you can satisfy paying your bills, your survival, you're okay with that. Am I catching it right?
Yeah.
That also shows on your connections that you build with patients,
Yeah.
or people, because a lot of people, or especially your audience, connect to that part of Lincoln, right? It's like, okay, he's a creator, but he's also a community person that we can trust to have an honest opinion, or honest thought about what he thinks. And that is why the numbers on your social media shows that you have a loyal following, because people trust you. And I think that if you were genuine
or if you are true, no matter what happens, you will have a lot of people who will support you in each and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm focused on telling people stories, right? So when people ask me for a rate sheet, I still don't have a rate sheet. I don't have a media kit because every client is different, right? Like, so I want to tell their story. I want to be able to know what their actual needs are. Like, so you can't just have a cookie cutter thing. You know, you can't have the same rate for a small mom and pop shop versus, you know, a mega $1 million corporation. Like, it's not the same rate. So I treat every client differently. I meet with them. I give them a call, or I, you know, have a pretty extensive conversation with them before I let them know, you know, I think, you know, this would be my rate, or this would be the, you know, the even exchange that we can set up here. And in terms of honesty, you know, I'm probably the most gung-ho about disclosure and content disclosure. So, like, under Canadian guidelines and under, you know, it kind of leans over to the FTC, because FTC is what's set up in the States, and all of our social media platforms are based in the States. So we have to both follow FTC rules and also FCAC rules, which are governed in Canada. And so I follow those ad standards. And that means that if I receive anything of value that somebody would otherwise have to pay for, I have to disclose it as an ad. As paid partnership, even if I'm not given money. So if I get a dish of free food, I have to disclose that as an ad. And a lot of content creators don't understand that, or a lot of businesses also don't understand that. And so there's an endless loop of, you know, oh, this person didn't disclose, so I'm not going to disclose. And it just goes into this thing where businesses don't know what they're doing, creators don't know what they're doing, and then you're stuck with a few creators that do know what they're doing, and it almost seems like they're always doing ads, but in reality, everyone is posting these sponsored content, but they're just not disclosing them as they're supposed to be doing. So I like to also educate other creators and, you know, what is truth in advertising, what is honesty in this. And people are always like, oh, I love your reviews. I'm like, well, no, like, if it's sponsored, it's not a review. Usually I'm just, you know, going through, you know, describing the food, describing my experience and what it's like. And if I truly enjoy it in that moment, because I record live, right? I record when I'm experiencing something, then I'll be like, oh, that was good. I enjoyed that. And a lot of people are like, you know, that's kind of fake. I'm like, no, it's not fake. Like, this is my true reaction. And you can as much enjoy a McDonald's Happy Meal as you could with a $200 lobster dinner. You can enjoy both of them. It's not like one is any better than the other. You know, if you have a craving for fast food at the time, you're gonna love that fast food. And the reason why McDonald's is so big is because people enjoy that food. And so, you know, sometimes people, like, with fake names will comment and be like, hey, you're lying about this. I'm like, no, I'm not lying about this. This is my genuine reaction to everything, right? So, but at the same time, you have to know that when you're experiencing something, when you're going through an event, you are not experiencing the event the same way a regular customer would, because you have been invited by the business owner, you've been invited by the brand. They're going to treat you like royalty when you're going through these experiences. And so you're going to skip the line. You're not going to have to pay, and you're going to get the food or your service faster than everybody else. So, you know, I might wait like 5 to 10 minutes for my food, whereas a regular customer coming afterwards may be waiting like up to half an hour or more. So, like, that's why disclosing is so important, because it lets the user know that, you know, yes, this was my experience, but at the same time, it might not be your experience.
Coming to genuine reactions, do you think a POV kind of content is better, or scripted content is better, where everything is pre-planned and you just act accordingly? Or you record yourself in genuine moment, so you get genuine reactions. Everything that is happening to you, you are just naturally expressing as you would off camera as well. What do you think is better, and how does it help the viewer who's looking to that content?
I think there's a place for both. There's a place for, voiceovers and kind of just what I call music videos where any business can make the same video as you if you're not featuring yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I am focused on that, experience as I'm experiencing it with somebody else. And I think the user really likes that. I'm taking them through the same thing. And when something's happening to me, I'm like, whoa, that's surprising. And it's fun. People like to see that. People like to be, spending the time with me, kind of like with a friend, right? And so there's a new term for something like that, but you're experiencing life with somebody who you almost seem to know, but you don't at the same time because you're just watching everything through their lens and what they see, right?
Their creativity. Yeah.
And so, when you have those real moments and stuff like that, it's way more fun. It's way more you can connect to that way better. But at the same time, when I am live, I will have those ums and ahs and all that kind of stuff where
Yeah.
on something that's scripted, it's cleaner
Yeah.
and you get your point straight across. And as a short form content creator, that's way more important. But lately, I've been making kind of longer form content just because, during the pandemic, TikTok was the thing. And I was an early adopter of TikTok. I was on TikTok probably a year before it actually got popular. So I was on TikTok in 2018. So it was shortly after my mom died, and I got on TikTok. I'm like, this platform is pretty cool. And it was right after they changed from Musical.ly. So it was a whole different type of TikTok than what we have today.
Yeah.
And so with the TikTok changeover, it was kind of like Vine was 5 seconds or whatever it was, 7 seconds, 6 seconds. And then it switched over to TikTok, and TikTok was 15 seconds. Keep your videos 15 seconds or shorter. But as you go through all of that, and especially as a full-time creator, delivering a 15-second video is really hard to feature things and to also give value to your customer, to your client, right? So I pushed it longer to under a minute.
Yeah.
And that for me as a short form creator, going from 15 seconds to a minute was long.
Long time.
I was like, how am I going to fill up all this time? And so I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just experience it with me. Let's, let's eat this burger together or let's go to the Stampede together and see, what it's like. Because I had never been to the Stampede, and I experienced it for the first time a couple of years ago. And I was like, whoa, this is like K-Days on steroids. It's a whole different experience, right? And I think a lot of Edmontonians would probably feel the same way. I don't think a lot of Edmontonians, honestly, have gone to the Stampede because they're like, it's just like K-Days, right? No, it's not. So, experiencing that and then sharing that experience, it's priceless. And so it's fun to do that.
Yeah, it's because I have seen your content for Stampede. Okay. And me being in Alberta over 6 years now, I've never been to Stampede. Because I was thinking the same thing that you mentioned. I'm like, okay, I've been to K-Days. It's just bigger version of K-Days. But after seeing the content, I realized that why Stampede is so popular globally and why millions of people come to Stampede every year. And the awareness that I got was from your content. Okay?
Thank you.
So it's like you do provide real and authentic content that brings awareness to people about the backstory of wherever you are at, or something that usually goes unnoticed by person to person, right? Now you do cover a lot of content, say restaurants, food reviews, new developments. How do you decide what to cover? How does your process of decision making works?
It's whatever is available on my schedule, really. My calendar governs me. So if my calendar is not working, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But if I'm available at that time, I'll put that on there. But I always, most of the time, I will let them know, if a paid event comes up, like if it's a free thing that I'm providing or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or a free event that I'm covering,
Yeah.
I will say, hey, if a paid event comes up, I will do the paid event. And, if I could switch the schedule around, I will try to make it to your event.
Right.
But I can't get to everything. There's like, especially right now with the holiday season coming up, all the openings seem to be like on Thursdays or Fridays.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to get to like 4 things in the same evening.
Yeah.
So like some people will like look at other creators and be like, oh, this person was kind of rude. They just showed up like for 5 minutes and left. I'm like, well, they just need enough for their content. They're at the end of the day, they're doing work, right? So they're going to do the work they need. If they have the content that they think that they have, they're going to like get that content and they're going to move to the next client because they as a content creator, you want to get that content out there. You want to get more content, right? But that's also the downside of content creation is that you have so much content that you have to find the time to edit all that content and then post that up, right? So for me, usually the beginning of the week is less busy. So that gives me some time to create some content and post it. And for me, most of my audience, when they're online, is pretty much the same
Timeline across.
it's the same across the whole week. So like I can post the content whenever I want. And with the algorithms and stuff like that, it doesn't matter if I post something at 3 a.m. In fact, some of my most viral content was posted at 3 a.m. in the morning because people will wake up and be like, the first thing that they see is my content. And then that just kind of goes into this feedback loop.
Yeah. When you cover a lot of events in a day, and you have been doing it for a while now, do you have a structure that you follow to create content, or do you just go to the event or to the place and document what you feel is right, and then do the storytelling part of the content in post processing? How does that work for you?
That's a good question. So in terms of restaurant content, it's pretty much the same formula for me because I kind of know what to expect. Review the food or like cover the food, and then post it. Like, so I'm experiencing the food. They're gonna give me the best dishes anyway, which is why a lot of food content is like, oh, this is great because the business wants to highlight the best part of them, right? So they're giving you the best dishes. So the food part is fine, but then when it comes to events, you don't know what to expect at all, especially if it's an event that's not annual. If it's an event that's happening for the first time, you're like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to show up. I'm experiencing it at the same time, and whatever I get is whatever I get, and I'm going to post that too. But if it's like a timely thing, an event that they want me to cover and that's happening just for the weekend or just even that day, I'll try to get something posted like immediately. So some of those are just kind of like as raw as possible, and I'm just gonna, record, pause, like that's like a feature on your phone sometimes too, and then I'm just like posting it. So basically, it's like a story in real form, right? But when brands contact me and they're like corporate, those ones I seem to struggle the most with because they're like, you need to give us a storyboard of what you're gonna do. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm gonna see at this location, like, so I'm gonna go here. I don't know what I'm doing, and you want me to pre-write my script? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And so when it's pre-scripted like that, and you don't know what's happening, I always put a caveat. I'm like, hey, this might not be what I'm gonna do, and 100%, like, well, maybe 90%, it's not going to be the same as what I'm going to end up doing because I don't know what I'm filming. I don't know what's going to happen there, if it's too loud or if I need a voiceover or what the weather's like. I usually try to film when it's like nice weather, especially outdoor scenes. So like even drone footage, sometimes I'll go to a client's place like the day before or the day after, or wait until the weather is clear before I get that drone footage because that one is the one that matters the most, right? Like, I don't want gray sky drone footage, and I almost never post gray sky
Okay.
drone footage. Like I'll get the sunset in there. I'll
Yeah.
get the nice blue sky with the sunrise or something like that.
Yeah.
To get that awe, like for the viewer.
Of course.
So like when it comes to that, I was like, I don't know if the weather's good. Maybe I just won't do that. If it's raining, then it's not gonna be good either. Like I will like sometimes for some clients, like I have gone back and paid my admission
Yeah.
to go back in and get like
The
footage that I want, and then. I know for like a local farmers market, I know I delayed them like for a few weeks and like no, I can't do the content today. Like the weather's terrible.
Yeah.
And I know like one of them wasn't happy with it that I delayed it. But then once the final footage came out, because I waited and for that blue sky, I waited for a good day when more people would be on the street to showcase that farmers market.
Yeah.
I think that was the reason for the success of that video.
Correct.
But the brand was probably not very happy with me because they're like, you waited like a whole month before you posted that. I'm like, the timing is everything. And sometimes, that video only went viral because of when it was posted and how it was done to create that process, to create that video. So it's all kind of based on providence in some ways too.
Yeah. Do you ever feel stressed, especially with brands? Or do you feel like your creativity is restrained when you have to follow what their expectation is? And that sometimes restrict you for bringing your own creative vision to the content. How do you cope up with it, or how do you deal with it, or how do you negotiate with the brands?
Yes, for sure. Like some of the brands, the things that they give you are definitely restricting. And because it's taking them years to create some of these social media policies, a lot of them are outdated. Like some brands are still wanting you to put their hashtags on there. I'm like, hashtags are dead. I haven't posted a hashtag for 3 years. I haven't posted a picture carousel like ever. I haven't posted pictures for my personal, like for my YEGventures brand Instagrams for more than 2 years now. And so when brands come up to me, they're like, oh, we want a reel, we want a carousel, and a few stories. I'm like, sure, I'll do a few stories for you. But then they want stories that are basically reels with all of this other stuff involved, and they want it posted as if you're experiencing it that day. But it's like, there could be snow on the ground that day. If I'm experiencing this, if that doesn't make any sense, right? And so it is restricting sometimes. So like sometimes I will talk with the brand and be like, hey, you know what? Like, you don't need the hashtag ad anymore. In fact, if you hashtag the word ad, your video will be split and it'll go to the algorithm for anybody following the hashtag ad, which doesn't make any sense. It doesn't reach the audience that you need to reach. And according to FCAC rules and ad standards, you don't need to hashtag the word ad. You don't need to hashtag sponsored. You just need to note that at the beginning of your reel so that people know that this is a sponsored content on top of the paid partnership label. So you need the paid partnership label. You need the ad. And I try my best to educate them. Like, hey, look, this is the document from the FCAC ad standards. It says, no, you no longer need to hashtag that word. But sometimes they'll just push back just because their team is so they've been working with the same team for so long, and they're like, we don't know, like, oh, what about legal? I'm like, come on, like, it doesn't take like 50 emails to go back and forth to like read this document. And so like sometimes it can get really frustrating to do that. And at other times, especially when they have a lot of restrictions, it's hard. And I tell them, you know what, like I'm this is what I'm gonna give you on paper. This is what I'm gonna give you as my video, and then you work with that. And I worked with a brand that did something similar to this, like I would say like 2.5 years ago. And I created this video for them. I gave it to them, and they were like, no, we'd like this changed. We like this whatever. And at the end of the day, they contacted you as you.
Right.
So if the brand can't trust you enough, that speaks more on them. because they reach out to you. They know what kind of content that you're going to post, whether or not you're a liability, whether or not you're just like completely unhinged, whether or not you're going to be swearing, or, you know, whether it's not going to be very family friendly content, or, you know, in some cases, some of the creators, like if they have a bad experience, they're going to go all out on you. And for me, I don't think like one bad experience, especially when somebody's opening, or, you know, their first time that they're going in business, like, you know, that doesn't speak on their business. And at the end of the day, I have the power to put people out of business as well. And so it's sort of a responsibility. So I'm not going to talk down on a business, but at the same time, if I don't like something, I usually don't feature it at all. I kind of just leave that out of the content,
Right.
to give them benefit of the doubt, right? So I will like let them know, hey, you hired me for this. I'm gonna do my best for this, right? And I'm gonna do my best to represent your brand. I've worked in companies where they have branding guidelines and all that kind of stuff, so I know the corporate side and how that works. But I will just do what I do because that's what they hired me for. And to go back to that story 2.5 years ago, I gave them that video, and then they're like, do this, do this, do this. I did that. I gave them back another video, and then I gave them like 4 to 5 versions of the same video. And then after all of that, they're like, we like your original video. I was like, wow. At least with that, in that case, it was done through an agency, and the agency actually paid me for the extra time because they were like, we had no idea this was going to happen.
Right.
And so, like, yeah, when it's corporate, it's really hard to work with. And that's why with those cases, like, I don't give that kind of rate sheet, because I know, like, at the end of the day, if I did that rate sheet, I would be undercharged for all that extra work that I did, right? So that's why with bigger companies, you do charge more, because that was an exchange of like probably 100 emails back and forth. And all of that time that I could have been doing something else with, and all the content for. So yeah, that's why rates are different.
That's very, very, very fair. Because especially big clients, as we say, they have a lot of things that we have to follow, and then once we submit the deliverables, we don't know what they'll request.
Mhm.
So important to have a sheet that at least gives them an idea, but also have an additional clause that, okay, additional time is this much, or
Exactly.
if you need this many revisions, original price only contains this many revisions, and if you need anything extra, it'll be an extra. Because most of the time that we put into creation gets unnoticed. It's only the time that we were actually at the place gets noticed, that, okay, you were here for 4 hours and you are charging this much, but they don't see that we, other than those 4 hours that we were at the place, there are 15-20 hours after that goes into making that video that you saw.
Mhm. And people don't understand the cost of content creation. I think that's a big thing. Like, each video is minimum 3 hours of work. You know, you're going there, you're recording the content, and you're coming back, you're doing the edits. And people also don't realize the actual cost of, you know, the equipment. Like, this equipment is probably like at least $5,000 with all of this stuff here, with all the 3 cameras that you have, the lights, all of that kind of stuff. I would say probably close to $10,000. And it's the same with, like, you know, just even social media content creation. You know, I have my phone, and right now I have kept my phone for like almost 2 years now, just because I love this phone so much. I love the camera on it, and people don't seem to have an issue with the content that I'm posting with it. But then I have my mics, and I've had to replace my mics, and those mics are a cheap breather. I need my lights. I need my tripod. I also need my subscription to music, because if you're doing sponsored content, you're not supposed to use any copyright or even trending music, because trending music are usually created by users, and users are copywriting those, right? So the music needs that subscription. You're also subscribing to like certain social media platforms for, you know, God forbid if I lose my Instagram account. Thank goodness I've been paying for my Instagram subscription subscription
Yeah.
so that I can get access to somebody at Instagram who can restore my account back, right?
Of course.
Or somebody at Meta.
Yeah.
So I have to pay for all of that. I have to and then as a business like yourself, right? You're paying for the gas and the time for that.
Absolutely.
You're paying for your power.
Yeah.
And my laptop, I have a special laptop. So my laptop wasn't cheap. Like it was a $4,000 custom laptop.
Yeah.
And like an i9. So like the amount of time it takes me to render a video is a quarter of the time it took me before when I had an i5, right? So like it was worth the investment to put into that, right? So like it's at least that all of that alone is like at least $10,000.
Yeah.
And then I also have like live streaming stuff on the side that I do, like as kind of like a COVID holdover,
Right.
Because I used to live stream for my previous job at the Archdiocese.
Yeah.
And so I chose to keep all of my equipment. So I pay for all of my equipment there as well for my job. They gave me the option, either we pay for the equipment and we keep it when you leave, or you pay for the equipment, it's yours.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I made a business out of that as well. So I live stream weddings and funerals and events like that still as a side gig. So that actually also pays the bills as well, right? So like when you have the higher paying things or a little thing on the side, you also are able to do more content for free, which is why. But at the same time, that content for free again isn't free when it's labeled paid partnership, right? You get hit by those. So your creativity has to change. You have to change how you create all the time to keep hooking your viewers and to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
And so it leads to more of that unhinged content. And it also leads to things that you want to post that are interesting to you. So that goes into like me and my urban planning and transit interests, right? So I'll post about, bike lanes. I'll post about, my experience on Valley Line. I'll post about my experience like dealing with the city on certain things.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm just as much of a citizen as anybody else.
Yeah.
And if there's something I think that isn't working that well, and especially 311, like there's no way to contact 311. Like they're closed on evenings, they're closed on Sundays.
The main times.
Like, why is that even a service at this point, right? Like, why don't they just give the phone numbers out to these attractions, to these rec centers, call them directly and get what you need? Like, so I like to point those things out as well. So, like, those are my interests, right? So, and of course, I'd like to move into that travel space as well. Like, traveling is a lot of fun. And as somebody who's been doing the city content for, I think, like, close to 15 years now. Not gonna say that the city's boring, but for me, like doing the same thing over and over again, like I can only do so much of like certain events every single year. It's refreshing to do some travel content, and I love that I've had a partnership with certain travel organizations in the city, and to feature some of the destinations that are just one flight away. And it's a lot of fun. And, the end destination loves it as well. And it just promotes everything, right?
Do you feel you have plateaued out in terms of cities, content, or say what you have been creating for city or in and around city?
I wouldn't say I've plateaued out. Like, at the end of the day, there's more new businesses than anybody could ever cover, and businesses are being replaced. I know there's a guy that's like he's trying to eat through every restaurant in the city. It's impossible because the amount of time you get 3 meals a day if you have that much money to go out 3 meals a day. And then there's gonna be like a lot of the restaurants that I've gone to after like 2 or 3 years, they've switched out, and it's normal. It's normal to have those businesses go under, just because of the cost of everything, the cost of food. The economy's not right for it at the time. And some businesses will come back. Like we've had chains come back, like Krispy Kreme. Like it didn't survive the first time, and it came back. It's doing really well now.
It's really
but there's a cycle for everything, right? Like at one point, I actually featured like White Ave. There were at least 30 empty like lots on White Ave. I'm like, whoa. So and it comes back, and now White Ave is alive again, right? So like these cycles come and go. and different regions, different districts come and go as well. So I wouldn't say I plateaued. There's so much to explore and see, but it gives me something fresh to do when it's kind of outside my current realm of things to do.
Yeah. Now, you have seen Edmonton in a way nobody has seen for a long time, right? Let's dive a little bit deeper into that. You have seen city grow. You have seen city change. What is the one thing that you feel was the biggest change the city ever saw?
I think the biggest change has been more urbanization. Like I used to live on the edge of the city, on the edge of 34th Street. On the other side of 34th Street at 34th Avenue was a ranch. So we would drive that way to go downtown sometimes because 34th Ave at one point was also like a dirt road.
Yep.
So we would drive down that way, and so there was a ranch there. It was nice. And now, like, the city goes all the way to, like, the Henday, pretty much. Like, once the Henday completed, that was the end of, like,
Yeah, it was
everything in there.
considered the boundary of city, right?
Exactly, right? So, and with that comes the big city problems. And I think Edmonton's doing its best. Like, I probably moved to the city originally when it was like maybe 650,000. And now we've officially went over 1 million in terms of like Edmonton proper. And our infrastructure hasn't changed. Like the central area of the city hasn't changed. And we're also supporting our border cities, like our bedroom communities as well. And so people don't realize that puts a huge pressure on all of those places. Our rec centers, like our rec centers are used by more than just Millwood, like Meadows, right?
Yeah.
The Meadows Rec Center, Millwood Rec Center.
Yeah.
They're used by Beaumont for sure.
Absolutely.
Or even people from Sherwood Park coming over sometimes, like if it's on their way to work. Same thing with our LRT infrastructure, like people coming in from Leduc and Beaumont, they'll use either, Capital Line or Valley Line. And we need to adjust for that. We need to work with those city partners to adjust for that too. But in terms of the people coming in here, I've noticed it might be less of an Albertan thing, I guess. We're more losing our kind of Edmonton small town feels, kind of that country vibe, to that urbanization, because I would say probably close to like 40% of our demographic is now non-Edmontonians originally, right? So we're getting that Toronto, like all of those
Influx.
East Coast people,
Like
kind of vibe, right? Migration. And so when I grew up, like, like when you think of Alberta today, we think like, generally we think of intolerance and all that kind of stuff. But when I grew up, I was probably like one of 3, like East Asians in my elementary school.
Right.
I didn't experience racism. But now, like you experience that all the time, and it's open. Like people with their full names are just commenting crazy things on there. I post anything about Indigenous experiences, I have to watch those comments. I have to delete things. Sometimes I just turn it off altogether. Same thing with anything that I post about South Asians. Like just people will comment like the nastiest things on there, and I think that's the biggest change. Like the shock that, hey, we're experiencing what the rest of the world experiences now.
Absolutely.
And it's not an Albertan thing to be racist. It's not an Albertan thing to be intolerant. Like Albertans have always been very tolerant of things, and we were very proud of that. But it's all of this influx changing our entire demographics that are adding on to this huge problem that we're getting, not just there, but also with like the homeless issues and the drug issues. Again, like it's an urbanization problem. Our city just can't handle a big amount of growth that is experienced. We're actually growing faster than the African countries that were, at the height of their reproduction and
The peak
levels,
time.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like no country, no city can handle this kind of growth, and we're doing our best to do it. But where's the solution? Nobody really has the solution for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I've read somewhere that the city's population has expanded about 124 or 125,000 residents just in 1 year.
Yeah.
And I think that was like 22 to 23 or 23 to 24. And that's a big migration that is happening currently, and just how much of resources we have, it's not enough to accommodate everybody. And so there is going to be problems, because I have a lot of friends in Toronto, and they tell the same thing that they are facing, right? Like we have a lot of people living in the same room because there's just not enough housing. And now we are starting to hear those problems in Edmonton as well, just because we have so much of population explosion happening in comparison to the growth that we have. Now, what do you think is a misconception about Edmonton that people who are not from Edmonton or who are not from Alberta have in their mind?
I don't think it's more of a misconception. I think in general, like people don't really care about Edmonton. Like it's just like a city. What are our conceptions about, I don't know, Brantford, Ontario? Like we don't know anything about
Pretty
it.
much, yeah.
And so I think we try to glorify our past a little too much. And at the end of the day, like people don't know much about like the past anymore, right? You think about like when Wayne Gretzky played in Edmonton, like it was the early 90s, right?
Yeah.
It's been 30 years. Like people that have, like the median age, I think, is like 40 or something like that in our city. Those people have not been alive the entire time Gretzky has been gone.
Yeah.
So we keep talking about, oh, Gretzky's from Edmonton. Not to, hit on Gretzky, right? Like Gretzky is like, he's the great one. But nobody knows who Gretzky is.
Yeah.
And we don't educate like on the past either, right? We don't educate on these things. And I think that's a reason why there's a big all of these other issues that we have, like with racism and all that kind of stuff. We don't talk about that. Yeah. We don't talk about any of this stuff. So we have Gretzky. What else is Edmonton known for? The Oilers, right? Yeah. Like Gretzky Oilers, that's synonymous. Cold weather. People don't care that we're pretty far north. Like, I think maybe people would be like, oh, you guys are just in igloos all the time, but that's a Canadian thing, right? Like the rest of the world don't know anything about Edmonton, and we're at the same latitude as like we're just north of London. Like I think we're at the same latitude as Aberdeen, Scotland. We are actually. I've been to Aberdeen, Scotland. Yeah, we are the same latitude. We have the same industry with oil and everything like that in Aberdeen, Scotland. Yeah, but like that's a pretty mild like weather, right? Yeah. So people don't think too much about that. West Edmonton Mall, again, West Edmonton Mall isn't really marketed around the world as much as it used to, right? Like they have enough people going there. In fact, there's more people that go to West Edmonton Mall every single year than Banff and Niagara Falls combined.
Correct.
So we have a bigger tourist attraction than the biggest actual tourist attractions in Canada. We don't think about that either, right? So those are huge misconceptions about the city. But again, those are conceptions that maybe the rest of Canadians might think about. Right. But the rest of the world, they're like, it's just another city. Yeah. Right? But I do want to say one thing, is that Canadian cities are really big. You compare cities proper in the States, I think Edmonton is somewhere between 12th and 16th or something like that in terms of population. With the States, right? Like we don't understand how big our cities actually are. Yeah. And so I think there was a vlogger from Europe or something that posted recently. Yeah. I think it was from Germany about Edmonton. And it was just like one of those bloggers that just okay, I'll just pick a city today and I'll post about it and just talk about it. But like we are actually we're not we're more than a metropolis. We're a megalopolis in terms of the size of how big we are.
Like dense city.
Yeah, and we're like made up of a whole bunch of little cities too. Like unlike Calgary, Calgary is surrounded like on one entire side by like a reserve, right? And then their ring road is a ring road. It's not totally complete yet. Like Edmonton has the only completed ring road in Canada.
Yeah.
But then you go to Calgary, like in southern Alberta, their cities are kind of sparse apart. But in Edmonton, we have like Spruce Grove, we have St. Albert, Sherwood Park, city or not, I call it a city.
Yeah.
And then we have Leduc, and then like Devon is in there as well, and Stony Plain's in there. They're not cities, but they're towns, right? And all of that is one big like microcosm or macrocosm. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but it's huge. And people don't understand how big that actually is. It's very rare in the world to have a size of a city this big. And it's not in the middle of nowhere. We're pretty, like, fairly close to the border. Like, we are above that, like, whatever, 100-mile limit or whatever. But, like, we're fairly close to the border when you look at, like, how big Canada actually is. So people don't realize that. And I think for tourism stuff, like, when we market Edmonton, we need to market ourselves as not, like, an Edmonton-Calgary rival.
Yeah.
But we need to market ourselves like it would be if we were in Europe.
Right.
So when you travel to Rome, when you travel to Italy, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the Tower of Pisa. You're going to go to Venice. That's hours away. But you want to experience all of those things, right? So when you come to a place like Edmonton, when you come to Alberta, we have six UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Alberta. 5 of them are in southern Alberta. 1 of them is Wood Buffalo. You can't access it. But the 5 that are in southern Alberta, wow. Like, you can do a bus tour route just to visit all those UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We have the mountains. We have Banff and Jasper. They're within like 3-4 hours away, depending on how far you drive. We need to develop a tourism route just from Edmonton, Calgary, mountain parks,
Jasper,
and visit a couple of those UNESCO World Heritage Sites on their own. Drumheller, oh my goodness, I just went to Drumheller this past summer. I wouldn't say it's a ghost town, but I would say it's pretty run down. Like, to be honest, Drumheller is run down right now. They need that tourism, but their marketing is only marketing within Alberta, right? But we need to develop this entire collective of cities and tourist attractions across Alberta and market these bus routes. I'm 100% sure you can definitely get Chinese tourists in here. And one thing weird about Chinese tourists is that they won't eat local food. They will just eat at Chinese restaurants. So we got a lot of Chinese restaurants throughout Alberta as well, with their own special diaspora food. Like, they can have some green onion cakes. They can have some ginger beef from Calgary, right? And experience all of that kind of stuff. It's great. So we need to market and create some of these regional tourism routes. Like, wouldn't that be an amazing trip? Like, you see mountains, you see Lake Louise, and then a few days later you go to like West Edmonton Mall, and a few days later you go down to Calgary, experience the zoo, or go up the Calgary Tower, or experience Heritage Park. I don't know if anybody's been to Heritage Park.
Heritage Park is so underrated.
It is amazing. There's a steamboat you can take. There's that train. There's like the little downtown area. There's a whole amusement park. There's even a streetcar that takes you from the parking lot into the entrance, right? That in itself is an experience. Like, you don't get that kind of like experience anywhere else, and you experience like the history of this region as well. Like, just like you would if you go to Europe, you want to experience the people, you want to experience the history, and all that kind of stuff. So, like, if they can get something like that all together, that would be an amazing experience. And then, go to Dinosaur Provincial Park, which is not the same as Drumheller. It's an hour away. Do a dinosaur safari there, touch some real fossils, and then go down to Writing on Stone. Oh my goodness. If you've never... Okay, people will go to Drumheller and look at the hoodoos and like, no, do not go to, don't even go to those hoodoos. Like, there's other things to do in Drumheller. Don't go to those hoodoos. Those hoodoos are way overrated. Go down to Writing on Stone and experience an entire valley full of hoodoos.
Yeah.
And then go down to Cypress Hills.
Yeah.
Like all within a day's drive, right? And so I would say the most underrated thing about Edmonton is that we don't take for granted all of the things that are here in Southern Alberta.
Yeah.
And also up to Edmonton, which is historically considered Northern Alberta. That's why we have NAIT and we have the Northern Alberta Jubilee Auditorium. Now it's kind of considered Central Alberta, whereas like Red Deer was kind of Central Alberta back then. But like I would say, I would include all of those things when you try to market Edmonton as a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
We have more than just the things that we have in our city. Like, city tourism is great, but regional tourism is a huge. You're leaving money on the table when you don't market Alberta.
Yeah. When I get asked by my friends who are Ontario based, they're like, how many days do I need in Alberta to see everything that Alberta has to offer? How do you answer that question?
Okay, so I used to do an entire route from Edmonton down to Southern Alberta. Oh, Waterton. I forgot about Waterton. So I would say at least 10 to 12 days is a good thing to experience Edmonton and Alberta.
Yeah.
So start in Edmonton, take a couple days, rest, get acclimatized to the time and our long summer days. Even if the winter, like people come to Edmonton just to experience winter. So I met somebody from that really long country. I think it's Chile.
Chile, yeah.
She was in a part of the country that didn't experience winter.
Yeah.
She came to Edmonton,
just to experience.
Planned it with ice on white so that she could experience winter in Edmonton. She got like this entire suit, like snowsuit to experience it.
Yeah.
She came here, she did like a little ice carving at ice on white, and then she planned to go to like Lake Louise and Banff to experience that too. And then there was like another winter festival down in Calgary that she was going to do. Anyway, acclimatize yourself in Edmonton for a couple days. So spend some time at West Edmonton Mall, do some shopping, and then experience that river valley and, the Muddart Conservatory. What else? Our funicular, like that's not very common to have like an inclinator, right? And then Valley, you have to take the Valley Line around. Valley Line is amazing. And then experience some of the restaurants. Even if it's just a family restaurant, like when I have friends over from other places, I take them to the Spaghetti Factory. Okay, the old Spaghetti Factory. It's a great place. It's a nice family place. It's it is a chain, but it's affordable.
Yeah.
And people enjoy the food there. Yeah. So I will take them there. I'll take them to a local coffee shop, and then go on a little walking tour somewhere. Do a walking tour on White Ave. Do a walking tour downtown. See City Hall, the Arts District, all of that kind of stuff. Get in a show if you want. And then go down to, I would say, I usually go down to towards the south. So I would go to, what is that called? It's a buffalo jump. Dry Island buffalo jump or something like that. You can see that and then go down to Dinosaur Provincial Park, experience that UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Yep.
From there, I go down to experience, what is that place called? Cypress Hills.
Yes.
Cypress Hills is amazing. Highest point between Banff and the ocean, the East Coast. Cypress Hills has some prehistoric plants there because during the Ice Age, the ice didn't cover that part because it was so high. I have never seen so many stars in my life. Yeah, so I was there. It's so windy there, though. I had a tent. You really have to pin it down because I was blown over twice while I was in the tent there. But every time I got out, I was like looking at the stars. It was so amazing to see all of those stars. And then from there, go down to Writing on Stone, and then head over to Waterton. And then there's a Remington Carriage Museum there on the way back. And then go to Head Smash and Buffalo Jump, another UNESCO World Heritage Site. So that's 3 and 4 is Waterton. So that's already 4 UNESCO World Heritage.
Okay, yeah.
5 because of the dinosaur. Okay, so you hit all 5 provincial, like you hit all 5 UNESCO
UNESCO
World
sites.
Heritage sites right there. And then on the way back, of course, stop through Calgary.
Yeah.
And then if you have more time, take one of the most beautiful drives in the world between Banff and Jasper, and then come back. So there is so much to do. Like, so I wouldn't say just spend all 12 days in Edmonton. No, don't spend 12 days in any city.
Yeah.
Like, go to New York. Maybe spend 3 days in New York and then like explore other things in New York that are maybe like a train ride away. Like we as a family, when we went to New York, we would go on a bus tour again.
Yep.
So we experienced Philly, New York, Boston, all of those like cities on the East Coast, like all in one trip. Same thing with Los Angeles. You go to Los Angeles, the bus would take you all the way up to like San Francisco or San Diego and experience all of that. Like those are the trips that you remember, and you get a little taste of all of those cities, right?
Different cultures, different locations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you have told a part of the city, or the story of the city. Now let's get real with you a little bit. Now you, as a content creator, what is the hardest thing that you have to overcome to stay as a content creator? Like, what is something that is preventing you from quitting?
From quitting?
Yeah, like how, say, if because everybody has their hard times, low times, their peak times, right? In hard times, when you are doubting yourself, what is one thing that keeps you motivated in the roughest time?
Oh, I think engagement from my followers. Like, they'll comment on certain things and they'll reshare something. It's like, whoa, like I haven't, like that post was made like 2 years ago. Like somebody's still watching that and getting value out of it. And I think that's like very big encouragement to keep going. And every single day, I am recognized in public now. So I would go out ever since my perm, actually.
Yeah.
So I got my perm and then I had my hair dyed blonde for a while. And then after that, like this, so whatever I have now is like just plain hair. Maybe people will, maybe I'll just disappear into the crowd now, or people will be like, oh, I don't know that's the same guy because he's Asian. But like every single day I've gone out in public, I've been recognized. Even when I'm traveling, like I was recognized in Ottawa, I was recognized in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, people know who I am. And I think that's kind of encouragement that I'm doing the right thing to do what I'm doing, right? So like I'm enjoying what I'm doing. At the end of the day, it's still a job. So there are days where it feels like work. But everybody has those days, right?
Absolutely.
And it's definitely good to be recognized for what you're doing, but it's also good to be able to bring value to the community, to be able to, draw attention to community events, to nonprofits. I think I'm one of the very few creators that do work for nonprofits. Even there's not a lot of creators that will do the nonprofits because they don't offer a lot, right? It's a nonprofit at the end of the day. But you're highlighting that nonprofit organization. You're bringing donations to them. You're bringing more awareness to that cause. And I think at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, to be able to do that, to be able to bring community together. And they've done studies where they had like a little town that was connected to the internet. Everybody was connected to, like, this was pre-Facebook, I think, or around the time of Facebook. But they had their own like internal kind of social media. And they found that the people that were more connected online were more likely to go out into their communities and experience their neighbors and their different aspects of their community. So I know people are like, oh, people just doom scroll all day. But, if you're doom scrolling on the right algorithm, you're going to be more active in your community. You're going to be more active in your city. And in general, you're going to be a better citizen.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced burnout?
I am in constant burnout all the time. But you kind of just learn to live with it. I thought, like, I thought there would be a cycle that it would get busier at certain times of the year and then die down. It doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Like January comes, businesses want more business, so they're like, "Hey, come over here, do something with me." So I thought it would be dead, but no. And then that would happen, and then springtime comes. Everybody wants to market, their spring events, and then obviously going into the summer and the summer tourism, into the fall, like back to school and all of the things like that are in the city again, and then now it's all like the holiday season, so it doesn't die down. So you kind of just have to live with being busy and also finding ways to organize your time, and I'm still struggling with that. Like if anybody can help me, like let me know. Um, but yeah, like burnout is definitely a thing, but at the same time, it pays your bills. So you gotta just have to suck it up and just do it. And at the end of the day, like my calendar is mostly free. I just need to schedule time for work,
Right.
and get work done. And so like organization is probably my biggest thing. Like I'm terrible at paperwork. Anything that requires paperwork or administrative work, I'm terrible at it. And my clients know that. Like some of them, like I didn't even invoice because I hate doing invoices,
Yeah.
right? So uh it's terrible. But like in terms of administrative work, but in terms of creative work, I love creative work.
Right.
And I'll just create the content and make that content up.
Yeah.
Once I get all of that, my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And I do prioritize the paid content first, and then the rest of the sponsored content, and then my fun content.
Yep.
And so like it takes a bit of time, and you do have to space out like sponsored content with non-sponsored content, and get those in there so it keeps your audience interested and engaged with what you're posting, right? So there's a whole shebang to everything. And so when clients are paying for your content, they're paying for all of that other stuff too. They're paying for your non-sponsored experiences because it's also for their audience, right?
Yeah.
And you won't have an audience if every single piece of your content is sponsored.
Yeah. Now, you have established yourself as a community or the city content creator. People from city or people who know you expect the content on a regular basis. That okay, Lincoln's gonna go do another review. We're gonna go check it out. Do you ever feel like you wanna take a break from doing this, but just because the niche that you have established yourself in restricts you from doing that?
I take a break actually midsummer usually. So because I don't have any actual like relatives, like close relatives anymore. Like my parents have both passed away. I'm the only kid. Um, and there's like in my cousins and everything like that, and my uncles, they live abroad. So they don't live here. My distant cousin who's non-blood related, he recently moved to Calgary, so sometimes I'll go to Calgary to visit him, but other than that, like I don't have no family. So I actually go to the States every year to spend time for roughly 3-4 weeks, to spend time with their family. So I go to their family reunion and stuff like that because they kind of welcome me in as part of their family.
Right.
And so I go there, and that's kind of my break because it's I'm in an RV, and internet is scarce. Even when I I brought down a Starlink with me because my cousin gave me a Starlink to
Right.
go down there.
Yeah.
But Starlink gives you a good a download, but not a good upload.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to do any work for real, to do any uploads and things like that. So that was my break. I was basically disconnected for about 3 weeks. And I guess if that is a break, like usually the end of summer is a good break.
Yeah.
Even though everybody's kind of busy, but that's the time you want to take a break because
Right.
people are so busy, they're not on their phones. So you're not going to get a lot of views anyway during the summer. Most of my best views are like during now, like
Yeah.
going into winter and
Yeah.
and everything like that. So I guess this is a busy time in the down season. Really not a down season, but lesser of a busy season. I usually take a break at that time, so it gives me a break. But at the same time, when you do take that break, it's hard. It's hard to get back into the groove, not just like for work wise, but also for the algorithm, because the algorithm's like, who are you again?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you got to just work at the algorithm again and then just do all that. So everybody, I would say, like, everybody starts at zero, and if you don't do anything for a while, you're starting at zero all over again.
Yeah. Now, say when you are in a place where you have no cell service, no reception, no internet, how does it feel to you? Does it feel like you're more connected to yourself, or do you feel scared, or do you feel like I'm missing out?
So my ideal place to travel is actually the Ascension Islands in the middle of nowhere. So in order to get there, you have to fly to London.
Yeah.
And then from London, you have to go to a military base. And they fly to the Ascension Islands only twice a week. So you get on that plane, you go down there. There's not a restaurant there or anything like that. If you want to eat, you have to eat at the military mess hall. And it's only at certain times of the day that it's open.
Yeah.
That would be my ideal vacation, to be kind of disconnected from everything, not even a cell phone as a distraction because there's no internet, and you just live. You're just there, you exist, and you're experiencing nature, and there's nobody else around. I think that would be my ideal vacation, to be like in the middle of nowhere. But because I love the content creation, even with that, I like going to the small towns and experiencing things in small towns, even though most of the small towns are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
You experience one small town in Alberta, you're done. Like, it's the same, whether it's, I don't know, Provost or Stettler. Like, it's pretty much the same. They got similar histories, maybe different European ancestries in terms of the settlers there. But then it's different when you go to Quebec. Every small town in Quebec is different. Like, it's so cool. And anyway, so that would be kind of my ideal kind of break.
All right. Now, let's step back a little bit. Let's talk about the business side of what you do. How does, say if somebody is brand new or thinking to get into content creation, what would you say to them to encourage to get into the profession, but also giving them confidence that financially you'll be okay? Because there is a myth out there that you're a content creator, you will not make a living until you are having, say, 1 million followers, or say having a successful YouTube channel over X amount of subscribers that will generate a revenue and on a constant basis. What would you like to say to those kind of people who are interested in this genre?
There's actually different ways to be a content creator. So there's the new UGC kind of creation, user-generated content, where you're basically creating content for a brand. So you're not creating content for yourself. You're not developing an influencer brand for yourself. You're basically just, what is that called? You're just doing work for somebody else. You're freelancing for somebody else. So that's kind of, historically, it's always been a thing where there's been companies and corporations, and videographers who would just do content for businesses. Now there's just a term for it called UGC. So that's one type of content creation. You don't need to even get behind the camera a lot of the times. You just like do content. You go to a restaurant, you feature the food. Maybe your hand will show up in the video. You can do that. So you don't need to build a lot of followers for yourself to be that kind of content creator. You could be a content creator for a brand. You could work for a brand. You could do social media for a brand, or a company or a nonprofit. And there's lots of those kind of jobs as well. Albeit sometimes these jobs will, like, especially the job descriptions, will have a whole bunch of weird things added into it that have nothing to do with content creation. So like, I remember looking for different jobs at one point where it was just social media jobs, and one of them was weird. It had, we're looking for somebody who does social media and also designs mugs. I'm like, what? Like, I don't know nothing about designing mugs. So a lot of those social media jobs have something else fit in there, and I don't think a lot of brands realize how much work it is to be a content creator, to be like finding things to do creatively all the time, without copying another trend or something like that. And if you're gonna copy trends, make sure that you put a twist into it, to make it your own, to make it like brand that fits into your brand, right? So that's the content creation aside. But in terms of advice I would give to like new content creators, it doesn't take a lot of money to start. And like I said, everybody starts at zero. So every account I've created, whether it's for a brand, whether it's for myself, I started at zero. And you just know that everybody starts at zero. Sometimes you'll get into a platform before it gets busy, or before it gets popular. And then that's when you get a lot of the followers and algorithm changes and stuff like that. But I would say the best thing to do is not to invest into anything immediately. Learn to do what you need to do with what you have. So if all you have is your cell phone, great. That's all you need to do to create your content. Download a free video editing app and start editing on there. CapCut is free, unless you're using the special features on there. And then like you don't even need a mic at that point, because like technology has changed so drastically that you can just isolate your voice in a crowd, and then you can edit that way. And there's like free tools you can use to do that too. So get your cell phone, and start an account, and then set yourself goals. So make your first goal to be like 1,000 followers. When you get 1,000 followers, you're gonna get a mic. A cheap mic that's like $25 at London Drugs or something. Or you can go to my Amazon affiliate links. By the way, if you have Amazon affiliate links, if you ever go to an Amazon affiliate link and you don't purchase that item, but in the same session you purchase another item that was marketed to you, that user still benefits from you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was like, I never sold any lipstick. I never sold lip gloss. Why do I have these on here? I thought it was a mistake, so I emailed Amazon.
Right.
I'm like, I never sold these. Why am I getting credit for it?
Yeah.
They're like, if anybody uses your link and purchases anything during that session, you get the credit for it.
Okay, so if your link brings customer to their platform, and then if they stay on the platform, doesn't matter if it's the product that you showed or anything else from platform, you still get whatever commission that you get.
Yes.
That's very smart.
Yes, that's really cool, right? So whenever I have like a product or something and I don't have my because you have to it's so tedious to create an Amazon link for things, because you have to like go on to the only way I know how to do it is to go on to the desktop version to do it. And like I don't have my desktop with me. Like it's so I'm like, go to the link, look up this item, and then purchase it. And then I will get credit for it. I promise you. So that's what I kind of do now. But anyway, get something, get a little mic, and then for like the first 300 followers or something, it's actually easy to do that, because they're all just your friends and family. So whatever, like your friends and family, they don't care about you. They'll just follow you because they're your friends and family. They're not going to watch your content. So when you get to that first 1,000, treat yourself with a mic. And then when you get to like, I don't know, your first 1,000,000 view video, or I don't know, like start with 100,000 view video or 10,000 view video, then maybe you can get a light. I use a really cool light that I got from London Drugs / Amazon. It's on my links. But this Godox light, it costs like $47. It's cheap. But it has like the warm and cool, but it also has colors, like actual colors, like red, blue, green, whatever, right? And it also has effects. So you can change it to like police lights, you can change it to disco lights, you can change it to like campfire if you wanted to. It's a fun little light for like $47. It's magnetic. You stick it on the side of your fridge and you can record from that, and you can connect multiple lights together, and it's USB-C chargeable. Anyway, I'm not selling the light, but you can get these little pieces of equipment as incentives to keep going. Right. And I would say set a goal for yourself to post every single day. But if if you're really busy, if you're a parent, or if you work every day, like multiple jobs or something like that, maybe set yourself a goal to post 2 to 3 times a week, and do not leave that schedule. do not leave that schedule, because the best part of content creation is creating your own skill. And if you don't do that, you won't have a skill that you'll need. And without that skill, you don't need any other equipment. And I know a lot of content creators will be like, oh, unless I have this camera, I can't create my content. Unless I have this mic, unless I have these lights or this podcasting mic, I won't be able to create my content. No, that's not true. You can create a podcast with your phone. So it's a matter of knowing how to use those devices. And the worst advice is to get a new device and start using it that day for a client or something like that, and you don't know how to use it. And then you go home, you're like, why didn't the mic work? Or like, the lighting sucked on this, or it didn't record at all. Like all of that kind of stuff. Like, learn how to use what you have, then build on that using those regular skills. And if you're building content every single day, you're gonna find little ways to get better and better every day, because you're like, why is it taking me an hour to create a minute-long video? Why is it taking me this long? How come nobody's viewing this? Well, maybe, first of all, how come nobody's viewing this? Don't even ask yourself that question. Evaluate yourself, like I would say, season to season. So like every quarter, evaluate how well your content is doing. If you're growing, great. If you're not growing, maybe you could tweak that content a little bit and change it up, and then make something new. So familiarize yourself with the tools. I am kind of against the use of AI, because in the creative workspace, like, you're being paid for your brain. You're not being paid for AI generated content. So I try to avoid AI generated content. But if you want to use a voice, a computer generated voice, I don't say that's AI. It's a computer generated voice. You can type that in there. You can use that if you don't want to speak, or if you're not comfortable with speaking, and then just start with that. But I assure you, the moment you put yourself on camera, the moment you put you and your personality into your content, that's when you're going to excel. And my content really didn't excel until I started filming myself on TikTok and stuff like that. Because for like the first 5 years, for the first 8 years, I was more into the kind of UGC style content where I wasn't on the camera. I was behind the camera and I was filming whatever was in front of me. That content didn't do very well. Well, mainly because it was like local and not very many people knew who I was at the time. But I would say that content, if I look back on it, it was kind of boring.
Right.
Because there was no personality in it, and it was more like news videos. Not that news videos are bad, but it's a different type of storytelling, and not really for like, the current social media kind of storytelling. So learn how to use what you have, develop your skills, and then everything will follow.
Because I do photo and video production, right? That's my business, and I get asked a lot that what gear should I get, right? I always tell, whatever you have, hone your skills onto it, achieve what you want to achieve, and then upgrade yourself. Okay, so it's like, technically you don't need a $5,000 camera to do photos, because even phone can do photos, phone can do videos. Nowadays phone are so powerful that it can do anything and everything, right? And then use free AI help and in order to enhance those. So for an example, say if you don't have a microphone, record on your phone and use AI to enhance it. There are a lot of free platforms nowadays that will do it for you, and you don't need $100 mic for that, right? So it's like, start with that. And I also agree with you that put yourself out, because people will connect to you more rather than your content at first. Once you have connection with people, once they know you and know what your personality is, they will value your content, and they will also trust you in order for the right guidance or right review or right content. So that will also help boost the brand, boost the exposure, boost the whatever we are trying to achieve. But having that facial, or say the personality connection to the audience, is the best that I have learned from my experience. So I 100% agree with you on that. Now, I this is a question that I personally struggle with, okay, in my business. But I wanted to ask that, how do you take criticism? Say, how do you take or how do you cope up with a comment that's been very abusive or very aggressive on the content that you made? Or say, if you were out doing a review or doing your work for a business, and then you do get priority for that because you are doing service to the business, but that also makes other people feel like you are getting things first compared to them, and they are paying for it, right? And then either they will come face to face to you and then have an argument, or go to your page and write a bunch of negative reviews or negative comments. How do you take that, or how do you cope up with that experiences?
First of all, there's two types of criticism. There's criticism that's directly targeted at you, that has nothing to do with what you're posting.
Yeah.
Um, that kind of criticism, just ignore. Just, hide it, delete it, whatever, and block them. I used to have this policy of not blocking anybody, but like social media has changed so much. People have changed so much, and the way that society has kind of, I don't know, polarized itself is completely different now. And the strange part is sometimes those people follow you, and they're like, commenting on your race, they're commenting on your religion, they're commenting on, I don't know, like all of these random things. So those people, I just either like hide their comment, restrict them, or just block them altogether. Because nobody deserves that kind of stuff. And it's just outright bullying.
Yeah.
And then there's criticism about what you're posting. So that criticism is legit. Take that criticism to heart, and see how you can improve on that. So if somebody's like saying that, they went to the same place, they didn't enjoy the food, but at the end of the day, like what somebody is tasting may not be what somebody else would like to taste as well. So you got to also keep that in mind. But if it's about an experience, at the end of the day, that's why I disclosed that I was, sponsored. I disclosed that I got this for free. I was hosted here.
Right.
Because I know 100% that I'm getting a different experience than anybody else that's there. And so if it's not about that, if it's about something else that I'm, saying about it, then I'll look into it and see, could I improve this, or could I change this? Or if there's an incorrect fact that I may have stated, then, I might correct that in the notes or something like that. So if I say like, oh, this is the largest mall in the world, when it's not, I'll correct that. But I usually fact check everything without the use of AI, because AI is always wrong.
Yeah.
I will try to fact check things, and I always even fact check brands. Like if they're saying that this is like the only one of its kind, I will fact check that. Edmonton likes to brand itself with like, the largest urban park in North America. It's not true. It's not the largest urban park in North America, and it hasn't been for like, I don't know. Even if you combine all of those parks together, which you shouldn't, even if you combine all those parks together, it's like third in Canada alone, right? So it's not the largest park, whatever. So I try to fact check all those things, and a lot of those facts that they, different brands and different places try to use over and over again, they're years old. So you always have to double check on those, some of those facts, and update on those, and maybe make that fact a little bit more specific. Maybe, maybe it's just the largest in Western Canada and not the largest in North America, right? Or the largest mall in the world. Maybe it's just the largest mall in North America. Same thing, right? So you got to fact check all those things. So that criticism is legit. Like, and always be open to that kind of criticism, because you're learning at the end of the day. You're learning how to do things, and sometimes like you'll get criticism about your lighting and how you can improve, or I can't hear you, the music's too loud. You definitely need to fix that, because if people can't hear you, nobody's gonna watch your content, right? So yeah, definitely take criticism, and improve on that. But if it's targeted at you directly, hide the comment. If they keep doing it over and over again, like I don't know what their problem is. The problem is them, not you. So then just do what you need to do.
I always tell myself when I come up at this kind of situations that distinguish the criticism. If it's a constructive criticism, take it and improve on it. And say if it's targeted to you, I would say ignore it, because at the end of the day they are still helping you. They are boosting the algorithm, they are boosting the interaction on your platform, right? But it still takes a while for you to have that ignorance to negativity, and distinguish between negativity and constructive criticism, right? Takes some time, but once you do it, nothing will stop you growing from there. Do you agree with that? Yes, perfect. All right, too much serious topics. Now we'll kind of wind down and play a little game. I'm gonna ask you some questions, my friend. Okay. Whatever the first thing that comes to your mind, you'll say it outright.
Oh boy.
Okay. Okay, let's start. Best coffee shop in town.
Oh, I usually hate the question, what's the best restaurant? But like when it's more specific, it's easier.
Yeah.
Best coffee shop. The first one that comes to mind is Boxcar.
Boxcar.
Yeah.
Love them. Hidden gem in Edmonton.
In Edmonton. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I went to a hidden gem last night, actually.
Okay.
I was at the Magic of Lights
Okay.
by the airport, and I was like looking for food. I'm like, what's open now? Because it was like close to, like, it was 10.
Yeah.
And I found this place in Nisku called the Roadhouse, I think. What is it called? Something Roadhouse. Hold on, let me see.
The Roadhouse. Okay.
Not the Roadhouse, but I was there last night. Yes! How do you know that? Oh, okay. So, Blackjack's Roadhouse in Nisku. Oh my goodness, I did not know this place existed. It is huge. It can probably seat like 300 to 400 people. In the summertime, they have like bikers, like 300, 400 bikers show up.
Yeah.
They'll park in the parking lot and have like a huge party. They have an outdoor stage with an outdoor patio. They have like basically food trucks outside as well.
Yeah.
This place is huge. In the middle of nowhere, Nisku, of all
Yeah.
places.
Nobody expects
Nisku's
that.
population, I think, is like 10. Like, nobody lives in Nisku
Yeah.
itself.
All industrial
Yeah.
zone. Yeah.
Right? So like it's like, wow, this place is crazy. I had like a great brisket sandwich, and then it was like a walking museum in there. There were so many things in there, like things from all over the place, all throughout Central Alberta, historic things. It's so cool to check it out.
Very nice. The most underrated part of Edmonton, either it can be landmark or any physical place or business or whatever.
Underrated?
Yeah.
Okay, the most underrated part of Edmonton, I would say, is the Valley Line. Valley Line is amazing. The way that it's run, the way that it's all actually kind of privatized because it's run by Transed right now.
Yes.
It's night and day between that and the way Edmonton Transit runs Capital Line. I would say Valley Line, if it's messy or dirty, the train operator will call somebody when they get to Davie Station. A cleaning crew will get on board and clean the train while it's in motion, and they'll get off at the next stop and then just take a ride back to Davies.
Right.
Valley Line is amazing. It's nice and bright. It's clean in there. There's no like people loitering in the stations that don't need to be there.
Right.
And they have their own security as well, so that also helps. So I would say Valley Line is definitely an amazing gem.
Right.
Amazing experience compared to the regular way Edmonton Transit has been running. So
Yeah. Your favorite spot in Edmonton, location wise?
favorite spot, I would have to say downtown. Like, there's so many things to do downtown all the time, every single day.
Always lively.
Yeah, and I'm going downtown today actually to the Winterville. So they have free horse carriage rides today, and then I'm going into an outdoor sauna. So that would be kind of fun. There's quite a few things to experience there downtown.
All right, now we'll ask about experiences. The best experience in winter in Edmonton.
Best winter experience. Oh, I would say like Ice on White, but Ice on White is no longer around.
Yeah.
Like I always loved going down those slides. The reason why those slides don't exist anymore is because they cost like a fortune. It cost like $300,000. The last slide that they created, it was an ice slide, a $300,000 ice slide, because they had to put the scaffolding in. They had to have enough ice to go down. And the ice isn't cheap either. Like it's like competition grade ice. Maybe not the ones that are done for the ice slide, but the competition grade ice it takes 3 days to freeze one slab of ice, because they have to freeze it without without impurities. And it's done in like Ontario, and then they have to ship that giant block of ice here. But anyway, winter event, Silver Skate. Silver Skate is great. Hopefully it'll move back to Horlock Park. But when it was in Horlock Park, it was great. Like it was a free winter festival. Everybody can enjoy it. You get to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Best experience to do in summer in Edmonton?
These are crazy questions.
I put you on spot. Sorry, my friend.
I would say probably the Fringe Festival, because it has a bit of every summer festival in there.
Yeah.
The Fringe Festival has a lot of fun. You have the theater experiences, you have the street performers, you have all the food trucks, and then sometimes they have rides too, depending on the year.
Yeah.
So the Fringe Festival has got everything, lots of things to experience, and sometimes they'll have a parade as well.
Perfect. Now, we're about to wind down here, my friend. Now, you have documented Edmonton for more than a decade. Okay. What is one thing that you want to tell to Edmontonians about anything? About your journey, about the city itself, about anything that you want to change the Edmonton?
I would say for most people, experience the city. Pick a direction to go to, and pick a time. So, like, let's say you want to go north. Pick like 5 minutes, like, or 10 minutes, or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Drive that direction for 20 minutes,
Right.
and then walk around and experience that community and neighborhood, and find a local restaurant there and experience it. Like, guaranteed, you'll love it. You'll have a lot of fun just experiencing that. And I would say there's 2 ways to experience the city. There's the car Edmonton.
Yep.
So there's the Edmonton you experience using a car, and there's the Edmonton that you experience without a car. So when you experience Edmonton without a car, like whether it's by walking, by biking, taking transit, and like personal mobility and things like that, you're going to experience the city in a whole different way than when you're experiencing Edmonton by driving. So that's like one way to experience the city. But in terms of other ways to kind of improve the city and make it change, like, learn from those experiences and send feedback. It's not always just calling 311. It's getting involved. And that's just part of being a good citizen. Like I was sworn in as a Canadian citizen, right? So there's responsibilities to be a citizen. So you have to vote in elections. And then the other thing is to be active as a citizen, to improve the community that you're in. So, like, whether it's helping your neighbor, or contacting your MLA, contacting your city councilor or MP, and improving that experience for other people. That's kind of the most important thing you can do to help your city grow, to help your city change. And then, take part in local community leagues, and all of those things that make this a city, make this a vibrant city.
Now, on behalf of all the Edmontonians and all the people who follow you, who admire your work, I want to thank you, because I am one of them. And I want to thank you for your dedication and perseverance of doing it, because it helps a lot to us. Okay, you bring a lot of great places that we didn't even know existed. A lot of food that usually goes unnoticed. A lot of places in Edmonton that we didn't even know existed. So I want to really thank you for doing it, and I pray the best for you, and I also pray that you keep doing the work that you are, because nobody else has done it so far. and
Thank you.
everybody connects to you in a way that is genuine and that is directly emotional to them. Okay, I really thank you, my friend. Also, thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your journey to us. That way, it'll bring awareness to people. It will also show Lincoln that is behind the camera. Okay, how his life is, how the brain works, how the creativity and work life that you balance. And I hope that this is a part that people will connect more to. Okay. Now, last part that I usually do with all the guests of the show is this is what I call my autograph book.
Okay. Thanks for inviting me, by the way. Like, I was worried because as a short form creator, like, I try to fit everything in as much as possible in the form of a tweet or something like that. So I wasn't sure if I could talk for this long. It was a lot of fun.
Now, I am going to ask you to do the autograph here.
Okay.
And we're gonna take a little Polaroid photo, and I'm gonna stick it up on that and preserve it forever.
Make it stop turning here. Okay.
Should be good. There.
Okay. So I kind of merged my Chinese name with my English name, and then I
Okay.
did my autograph.
That is completely fine.
So it's Lincoln Ho, like that, and then my Chinese name is right here. By the way, my Chinese name is just my name in English. So my godmother
Yeah.
named me Lincoln, or
Yeah.
Ho Ling Hang, so which is just Lincoln Ho.
Lincoln Ho, yeah. Awesome.
And then my signature. And then, I don't know.
We'll do today's date. Today is 22nd November.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome.
There you go.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you coming to the show. I appreciate you trusting me to do the show completely unknown.